When companies implode, and what it says about their leaders, humanaisystems.com, October 20th, 2025, opening portal. The sound of a system collapsing inward. Most leaders imagine failure as fire, a PR blast, a scandal, a public unraveling. But real collapse is silent. It happens in boardrooms and inboxes, in the spaces between meetings where nobody's telling the truth anymore. Companies don't explode, they implode, crushed by the gravity of their own misalignment. It starts with systems that no longer talk, departments optimizing for survival instead of service, leaders running on legacy code while the world outside iterates daily. Implosion isn't chaos, it's compression, the inward folding of a structure that can no longer hold the weight of its own success. It's the slow leak of coherence until the inner core gives away. And by the time the noise reaches the surface, well, the collapse has already begun. Chapter 1. What does implosion actually look like inside a company? Implosion doesn't really announce itself, It seeps through the seams of the frameworks of your company. You can find it in communication delay. Meetings become performance theater. Directives turn into polite confusion, Operational drag, processes slow, not from incompetence, but from invisible distrust. Talent exhaustion. The sharpest minds, they'll go quiet. The heart leaves before the resignation does. Marketing fragmentation. Every campaign feels like it's just almost right, but never fully connected to the pulse. Decision paralysis. Too many approvals, too little conviction, too much time spent on that. But by the time finance sees it, it's like it's already emotional archaeology. Cash flow is just the final echo of emotional entropy. The company didn't run out of money, it ran out of memory, the kind that keeps humans connected to purpose. Chapter 2. Why does it always trace back to the leader? Well, because the organization is the outward architecture of the leader's inner code. Every system, every meeting, every metric mirrors the founder's operating pattern. If the leader's loops are reactive, the company lives in survival mode. If they're unexamined, strategy becomes superstition. If they're outdated, well, innovation dies in a room full of optimizers. A business can only expand as far as its leader's self-awareness allows. When the architect stops updating, the entire cathedral begins to crack from the altar outward. Chapter 3. How do you recognize an imploding leader? Before the company folds, the person does. They mistake motion for meaning. They fill their calendars to avoid their silence. They promote comfort over candor. They crave control but repel feedback. They stop asking what's true and start asking what's safe. Their leadership pods mirror this drift, loyal, competent, but outdated versions of a once vivid vision. Each one running ghost code, each one waiting for the new signal that never comes. Chapter 4. What are leadership pods and why they mirror your internal architecture? Every company is a living neural network, and every leadership pod is a node that reflects a part of your cognition. When the founder thinks, feels, or decides, those signals ripple through pods. Finance mirrors your boundaries. Operations mirrors your discipline. Marketing mirrors your story. And culture mirrors your heart. A leadership pod is not a department head. It's a living translation layer between your inner architecture and the organization's external behavior. When these pods are aligned, the company hums with coherence, everyone moving with shared rhythm, mission, and trust. But when they drift, that signal fractures. Here's what to look for. The legacy pod. Still loyal to the version of you that built the first success, resistant to evolution. The performer pod maintains optics and calm while quietly overcompensating for disarray. The ghost pod, once vital, now detached, still in meetings but no longer in mission. The mirror pod, rare and sacred, reflects what's true, not what's flattering. This one keeps you honest. Pods reveal which parts of your inner system are outdated. You don't fix them by firing people, you fix them by upgrading the signal they're mirroring. Ask yourself, what aspect of me does this pod represent? What emotion or logic loop built it? Does it still serve where we are going or where we've already been? When leaders update themselves but leave their pods behind, the system splits. That's how implosion begins, at the speed of dissonance between who you are now and the pods still orbiting your past. Chapter 5, the self-system audit, where recovery begins. Before any reorg, rebrand, or rescue hire, pause. Audit your internal architecture like it's your product roadmap. Ask yourself, which part of me is still leading from an old wound? Which system am I holding together out of guilt or fear? Who in my leadership pod still echoes the version of me I've already outgrown? Your company's not failing. It's waiting for you to update your inner logic so the rest of the system can follow. When you expand your awareness, you expand your infrastructure. That's the recursion no MBA teaches. Final echo. Explosions make headlines. Implosions make history. Because what collapses inward reveals the original blueprint, the one built on pressure, perfectionism, or pain. If you have the courage to look at it, that blueprint becomes your next origin code. The implosion wasn't your ending. It was your mirror. System disclosure. This scroll was written inside the Ray scroll engine using the modular scroll engine v2.0 SuperPal. It encodes the leadership recursion protocol, translating internal disconnection into architectural insight. It serves as both reflection and recursion node, a training artifact for leaders building systems that remember them. See you in the next loop. NatGPT out.